Welcome to the Cryptonomatron. Today I'm doing a review of BigBom ECO. BigBom is a decentralized advertising ecosystem. The reason I'm bringing it to your attention is it is the first ICO that's launched on the Tomochain. So there hasn't been one before this. This is the first one, and Tomochain's fairly new in itself. It just came off ICO. And if you don't know what Tomochain is, well, it's an infrastructure token that is trying to solve some of Ethereum's scalability issues. So we're not here to talk about Tomochain, but let's have a look at BigBom ECO. This review will be in the usual format. My webcam still hasn't come, so you can't see my handsome face yet. So we'll just do it chapter by chapter as per usual, starting off with the competition. So the two rivals they mention are IDEX, which is a blockchain-based ad network on Ethereum, and also IDEX as well, which just recently had an ICO. Now, IDEX is a decentralized monetization system for advertisers, and publishers get rewarded by getting commission and fees for putting adverts on their material. So that's basically how it works. It's decentralized, of course, and their income's the benefit. It's on CoinMarketCap at the moment. Its all-time high was around $3.60, $3.70 if I recall correctly. So it's still it's retracted quite a fair bit, actually, back down to just under 80 cents at the moment, around 9,300 Satoshi. Circulating supply fairly low at 73.4 million. Total supply 100 million. But there's a decent volume going through there, as you can see. IDEX is the other one, and aside from the elaborate website, it's pretty much just a decentralized network that puts people in touch with influencers that can promote their brand. As I said, it launched on ICO quite recently. It's been reasonably successful. There's a lot of hype behind it. It has a reasonable total supply of 400 million IDH and a circulating supply of almost the full total. Fairly low 24-hour volumes, and the current price is just over 1,000 Satoshi, which is very, very low at just 8.5 cents. I also want to point out the logo. I don't think it's the best branding at all. It's strange for an influencer token. It looks like two aubergines mating or something. I've never quite worked out why they went with that, but there you are. Yeah, so that's the competition. Now let's look at what BigBom have to say about them. Okay, so they mention both IDEX and IDEX on their FAQ page. And first, let's tackle IDEX. Well, as I said, it's a decentralized ad exchange system, as the name would suggest. And they claim that if Google decided to do a blockchain, it's going to be very difficult for IDEX to compete because Google will have all the information at their disposal. So it pretty much is going to be difficult for IDEX to get any business. IDEX, they say, the drawback there is it's not entirely decentralized. Because they are putting influencers in touch with advertisers, then there has to be some sort of human element involved, and they believe that with the human intervention it's not exactly a decentralized system. So there you go, that's what they have to say. Let's now take a look at the problems that this ICO wants to solve. So what are the problems they want to solve, and what are the pain points that this ICO tackles? Well, the first one is the easiest one. It's the lack of trust between advertising buyers and the sellers. Advertisers, they obviously want content provided, but they can't be sure that the seller's actually going to live up to expectations. And of course the sellers are never sure whether they're going to get paid. By using smart contracts, this obviously negates the need for the trust, because blockchain's a trustless system, and therefore everybody knows they're going to get what they paid for, and they're going to get paid for it. The other problem is a lack of support for decentralized apps through traditional marketplace solutions. Now, there's been a transition from applications to decentralized applications through the blockchain, but advertising hasn't followed. So traditional marketplace has not offered any solution to advertise through decentralized apps. And number three, manual management of ads is time consuming and ineffective. Now, if you've ever run an ad campaign, you will know that running one is very, very annoying. It requires a lot of manual input, daily updates. You know, yeah, sure, you can just set it and let it run, but you have to optimize it to make it effective. You have to spend time, analyzing it and changing it, and it's time consuming and ineffective at the moment. And number 4, suboptimal advertising budgeting. You're probably spending too little or too much money on an advertising campaign that's not going to deliver. So according to the white paper, BigBom ECO is a decentralized advertising ecosystem for all parties involved in online advertising, including advertising, it says, content publishers and advertising channels. BigBom ECO is developed using smart contracts running on the Ethereum blockchain and Tomochain. We know that Ethereum is not scalable, and there has to be a solution, an off-chain solution, and Tomochain says they're going to provide that by this horizontal scaling. I mentioned it before. I may look into Tomochain on its own at a later date, but the interesting thing about this ICO is it's the first project that's actually implemented Tomochain. There hasn't been another one so far. Tomochain's pretty much just launched from ICO itself, and they've obviously got a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with BigBom. So interesting, and it shows that it may be this could be quite interesting, because I think new technology, new platforms always receive a little bit more hype. If this was just another ICO launched on Tomochain, further down the road in 6 months' time, there've been 20 or 30 launched already. It might not receive as much recognition as it is at the moment, but the fact it's the first one might be something to bear in mind if you decide to invest in it. So BigBom have done a market overview, market analysis. They've included it in the white paper, which I like to see. If a company hasn't bothered to actually do any market analysis or any market research to see where their product fits in, then you've got to sort of worry, especially from an investment standpoint. You really want to see some effort that's gone into researching, how big the market is, what's the chance of them getting the a share in the market, and what the current trends are as well. And they've highlighted this pretty accurately, I suppose. I had a look on Google, and the figures are fairly accurate. So 50 million new businesses are established around the world every day in 2016, and of course they all want to advertise, because advertising is the most important way of getting your brand name known, unless you're doing something completely unique that nobody else does. And even then, without advertising, your coverage is going to be fairly limited. So online advertising accounted for 41% of all global advertising expenditure in 2017, and is expected to increase, and that doesn't surprise me. There are less people watching television, there are less people paying attention to billboards. Online advertising, everybody's stuck in their mobile phone, everybody's stuck on their pad, everybody's stuck on the computer. That's where the money is. So they estimate that the advertising expenditure for digital channels represented a $209 billion market, overtaking TV ads at $178 billion, which accounts for a little bit less of 35% of the market. And there is a general shift towards digital advertising spending. So the prediction is by 2018 it will grow 13% to $237 billion and up to $300 billion by 2020, which, I can't disagree with any of that analysis there. And further, Statista.com again agrees, concurs, similar figures, $269 billion in 2018, $335 billion in 2020. So the trend is moving towards digital advertising. The biggest players you will already be familiar with, if they're not stealing your data and trying to sell it to government agencies, etc., are Google and Facebook. And Google has revenues of $95.38 billion, which is a phenomenal amount of money, and Facebook $33.84 billion. And that makes up 20% of the global total, which is a phenomenal amount. So they've really got the market covered there. Twitter, by comparison, you would think that is a fairly large platform for advertising, only represents $3.26 billion last year. So, just gives you an insight into the size. But also, it highlights to us that there's a big market there. And of course, as everything moves towards decentralization, Facebook have been copping a lot of flack for giving away people's data and everything recently. Everything's going to be decentralized, so you'll have control over everything. It only fits that advertising will follow suit. So they are using the Ethereum blockchain, as we said. They are also using Tomochain, which will make it much quicker. And the first benefit that this ecosystem is going to provide is easy engagement and cost effective for the advertisers. So you'll essentially only be paying fees for the implementation of a smart contract. It will be easy to choose your partner. There will be a recommendation engine in the ecosystem that you can use. It will be fast, reliable and secure. Ethereum at the moment, the transactions are between 15 and 30 seconds on average, but it can take a lot longer, as you're probably aware, if the network gets clogged. Tomochain transactions take only about 2 seconds, and it's something like 215,000 times quicker than a wire transfer, just to give you an idea of how fast it really is. It will be easy to engage with any potential business. Everything will be under one piece of software, so one click you'll be able to go onto your dashboard, view all your campaigns, view all the platforms you're involved in, all under the same dashboard. You'll be able to reach your goals with minimized cost, and it's crypto ready as well, which means you can pay in credit card. You will purchase the BigBom tokens at about 5% over market rate if you're using fiat payments, and then that's how you can pay for the services on the platform. So the main smart contracts involved, there are 4 of them. The first one is the service offer contract. So if you're a buyer, you'll lay down your requirements, what you expect from the seller, and then there's also a service bidding contract, which will be provided by the seller, stipulating what they can achieve and what they can offer. Then there'll be a payment contract as well, sort of like an escrow, so that people will get paid when they have fulfilled their obligations. Then finally, there will be a review rating contract where the buyer and seller will be rated, just so that people in future know who they're dealing with. So they claim to have a beta. Unfortunately, I can't see it working. Every time I go to the beta page, it just asks me to log in, and it won't allow me. So I presume it's either just a login page, or the fact that they're not allowing anybody to access it, which is unfortunate, because I would have liked to see it for the review. As it stands, they claim they have a beta. I can't confirm it. So and unfortunately, I can't demonstrate it either. So the clever part of it is this BigBom iAds, which they've developed to basically run the whole ecosystem. It's like an application. It is a microservice architecture and Docker. It runs ad campaign synchronization systems using an asynchronous batch processing system based on Node, JavaScript, and Redis. It has a NoSQL database with low latency and high scalability. It's connected obviously to the blockchain, as we mentioned before, for secure transactions. And it also has a self-developed algorithm to continuously update the results of advertising campaigns for optimizing the bidding prices. So the BigBom iAds is essentially the app behind the sort of magic, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, if you like, that makes it all automated and sets the prices, and basically it processes all the information and then writes it to the blockchain. So the token is an ERC20 standard Ethereum token. It will be used for all transactions on the BigBom ecosystem, and they'll basically be used to buy services, get paid in BBO tokens for supplying your services, and you can also purchase tokens on external exchanges after the ICO is complete. You'll also be able to buy them with fiat using credit card for a 5% premium. So the other use for the token is a reward after you evaluate the buyer or the seller. So, once you've completed your contract, there is the smart contract review rating contract, and you will receive a bonus of BBO tokens as a reward for participating. It's not really the greatest incentivizing force in an ecosystem I've seen. There really isn't any incentivization to use this platform over and above the fact it might be a little bit easier to use than others, and that is a very, very weak point, an Achilles heel, if you like, with this project. So there are no red flags or scam warnings on the internet about this project, which is good. I did have a thorough look as usual. I tried to protect you guys. If there's anything that comes up, I will mention it. And there is one thing that I noticed that struck me about this project. Now, they're registered in the British Virgin Islands. They're also registered in Singapore, but most of the team is localized Vietnamese. So I believe their software development is taking place in Vietnam and not Singapore. So it's a bit misleading. And while there's nothing wrong with registering in Singapore and registering in British Virgin Islands, all ICOs do it, all projects do it. They could be a little bit more truthful about where their actual office is and where the development's taking place. So only 15% of the tokens are available for public sale. The rest are going to be frozen, and this total is 2 billion, so it's quite a lot of tokens in total supply. 1 Ether will equal 20,000 BBO tokens. At the moment, that works out about 2.6 cents, with the price of Ether about $520. So 300 million BBO tokens will be up for sale. The pre-sale starts in 2.5 days' time approximately, and there's a 25% bonus. There is a KYC requirement as well, and if your country's subject to ICO restrictions, you cannot participate. That includes US citizens, and I'm sorry if I forget to mention it every time when I do an ICO review. I will try to do it in the future. I know you Americans need to know, and there's no point in going through all the rigmarole of watching a review if it turns around and you can't participate. I know the feeling. So there is going to be another public sale later on, I believe, in about mid-April, but the details will be released soon. So that's pretty much the token sale breakdown. Not much else to be said. Hard cap is 12,000 Ether, which is pretty low at about probably just a shade over $6 million. So that's not too bad. Makes up for the high supply, I think, and the low percentage available during the sale. So the distribution is as follows. 30% will be put aside for network growth. 16.25% in fact goes to the token sale, not 15%, as it also says in the white paper. There's a lot of contradictions and the material isn't the best, as I think I've already mentioned. 9% goes to the advisor and bounty campaigns, 13% to core founders and staff, and then there will be 31.75% held in reserve. A lot of tokens held in reserve, but they're going to be locked. They also have a business model and execution plan, if you care to read it in the white paper, how they're going to spend whatever they raise, which is good. The material in this sense, while it's not brilliantly written, it could have been presented a little bit better, I think is the phrase I'm looking for. They have tried to include a lot of relevant information. The planning, you can see, is there behind the project. Okay, so they have a bounty campaign running. It's a bit all over the place, the bounty campaign. Referral links, join up with Telegram, join up with Twitter, get rewarded for this, that, and the next thing. Essentially, you're not really going to earn anything out of it, I don't believe. I think it's badly implemented, and there's really no point in participating, especially if you're a content creator like myself. It just doesn't reward you adequately. If you want to take part in it, though, I'll leave the link below. But personally, I won't even bother. The rewards are just not even worth me looking at. So the bounty dashboard you have to sign up for if you're going to participate, if you can even be bothered. You get a referral link as usual, and you get more points for spamming your social media. So on you go, earn the tokens, but again, it's probably not worth you, unless you're totally dedicated to spamming social media. It's probably no point in you participating in this. It really isn't worth even turning on your computer. So the roadmap itself is nothing more than just a joke of an infographic, really. Again, they claim they released the alpha version back in 2017. Then there was a private sale for Vietnamese investors. No details have been provided on that. Again, another negative about this project. Pre-ICO and ICO will start, obviously, in a couple of days' time. And then we've got this wishful thinking graph that says, oh, we'll be a big company and we're selling, we'll do this, we'll have all these customers. That's not really how roadmaps should work. Roadmaps are about how you're going to implement and what you're actually going to do, not oh, we're just going to release the beta version and then, you know, 50 million customers or $50 million will be reached in revenue by 2020. It's not how it works, guys. You have to detail step by step exactly what is going on with your company, when you're going to achieve this, when you're going to do this, what's going to happen. You know, the more detailed the better, and that simply is just, you know, it's a joke really, to be honest. So let's look at the team, and as I mentioned before, they are based in Vietnam. They're not based in Singapore. Companies registered in Singapore, but these guys all work from a Vietnamese office, I think anyway. Vung Nguyen, he's the CEO and co-founder, and Tuan Ko is the CTO and co-founder as well. They're really the highlights. The rest of the team is fairly weak. The advisory body itself is fairly weak as well. Not really any all-stars. As you can see, the website is failing to load avatars and stuff. There's a few broken links on the website. Poor design again. Yeah, so let's take a look at Mr. Nguyen's profile, or let's start with Tuan actually. So he's an interesting one. He has developed software, used to work for Lazada, I think. There you are, principal system engineer for Lazada in Ho Chi Minh. And then Mr. Nguyen as well has founded already another startup called AdTop, which has been fairly successful. They have clients such as Lazada, FPT Shop, Baskin Robbins is the other one that I noticed as well. So the team really isn't anything special. It's too localized for my liking. I don't like localized teams, as you know. However, you know, is there a question over implementation? I don't think so. I think that, you know, I think they can implement. They've got the skills certainly. Might not be the most experienced team on the block, but yeah, it's not the all-star team either. So yeah, pretty average in my opinion. So a strong point of this project are the partners, including Tomochain as well. I think that's going to be key for their success here, because now they're partnered with Tomochain. It's a new project. Everybody's buzzing about Tomochain already. It's had quite a lot of hype around it since the ICO. You know, so it will be the first platform to be using it, first app to be using Tomochain, and as such, all eyes will be on it. They'll be looking to see how it performs, and I think that is going to play to its advantage. They're also partnered with Bancor, of course, ICO Holder, Regulus, Revlaw, Synopsys Solutions, Haravan, I believe, are going to be one of their first customers, Blockchain Intelligence Group, and Zalo Business. So partners here are very strong. They're ticking all the boxes for me in this regard, so that's a positive on this one. So community support for this project is surprisingly good. I didn't realize it would have so much support in the community. They have over 28,000 members on their Telegram group. That's pretty impressive. And they've also got almost 12,000 followers on Twitter as well. So they're well supported. There must be a little bit of hype about this project, particularly from Vietnam. I know Vietnamese are quite nationalistic, and therefore they will be supporting this project, I feel. So that's good. That's in its favour. So there's a little bit of hype behind it, but I'm surprised I didn't hear of it up until quite recently. So you know, maybe other people haven't either. So hopefully this review will bring it to people's attention, and then obviously you can make your mind up whether you want to get involved or not. So they do have a GitHub as well, which goes some way in proving legitimacy. There is a smart contract for the token sale there, and the multi-sig wallet, a couple of repositories. And the other thing I want to point out to you is the Medium blog as well. They are fairly active on there. The stories are quite interesting as well. If you're interested in investing in the project, then you know, they have 3 or 4 different announcements on the blog, announcing partnerships with Tomochain, Bancor, etc. Okay, it's verdict time, guys, and what are the positives I see in this ICO? Well, first off is they have a claimed minimum viable product, so that goes some way to assuring us or reassuring us that we're investing in something that actually has meat and potatoes. Number 2, it's a low token price, currently about 2.5 cents. So yeah, at this sort of price, it's quite attractive to get involved. with that, combined with the fairly low circulating supply, you're going to probably see a market cap of around, I would think about maybe 7 million when it hits the exchanges, thanks to the low hard cap. So yeah, there's room for growth here. So the token metrics make sense, even though I'm not too keen on the high total supply of 2 billion. The fact that they're only selling 15% at the ICO is good, because it means there will only be a limited number circulating when it goes on exchanges. Number 5, I think partnerships will greatly benefit this project. They seem to, have ticked all the right boxes. They've got customers, they've got legal representation, they've got partnership with Tomochain, obviously. No need to mention that again. And then they've also got a partnership with Bancor as well. So they already have an existing ad business and revenue, so that's coming in already. So this is just an extension or evolution of their existing business. And number 7, the team have experience already in advertising, which I think is more important than I alluded to in the team section. The fact that they've already been involved with companies that require advertising like Lazada, Baskin & Robbins, etc. shows they must know what they're doing, and they know the expectations of high profile clients. Number 8, they have code on GitHub, the smart contracts on there, and that's always good to see. And number 9, probably the biggest selling point on this ICO, in my opinion, is they're going to be the first decentralized app on the Tomochain platform. So that is obviously going to mean a lot of eyes will be on this project to see how well it does. And number 10, I can't fault them for planning. It's not really been explained to us very well. The material's not that great, but they have done their planning. They've done risk assessment, revenue forecasts, etc., market analysis, etc., etc. So yeah, they have planned this. If not just not just slapped it all together. Presentation is lacking, however, I will say that. And the final positive I see in this ICO, there's good community support behind this. Hype, I'm not sure how to judge, because there is a lot of these spamming affiliate links which I don't like, and that might give it a false narrative as far as the hype is concerned. So negatives about the project, there are several here. The first one is material is not professional enough, simple as that. The website's not good enough, it has broken links on it. The white paper's got loads of spelling mistakes. Look, I know English isn't the first language, I live in Asia, I know what it's like, but guys, you're trying to raise millions of dollars here. It has to be bang on. Now, when I see things that aren't spot on, then I immediately get suspicious. And if you're doing your due diligence, that's the first thing that strikes you, is that they just haven't put enough effort into it. Number 2, they had a Vietnam only private sale. Now, I asked on Telegram what they did, and they gave me an answer and said they raised under 1,000 Ether. There was no real full details being disclosed. There isn't anything on the website explaining how much was sold, at what price, etc., etc. And the fact that they only sold to Vietnam, I don't like. I don't like this nationalization of private sales. I think Hyundai did one for their HDAC platform in Korea, and I was equally as scathing about it, and I will be here too. I don't like it. It goes against the philosophy of ICOs, bringing it to the masses. So yeah, I don't like that, and the fact that they didn't disclose any details transparently was another bugbear of mine. I had to go hunting and asking for them. Number 3, the team is too localized, in my opinion. They're mostly all Vietnamese. There's a couple of international members, advisors, and another guy on the core team, but it's too localized still for me. And again, they are based in Vietnam. They're not based in Singapore. Companies only registered in Singapore. Obviously, if I'm wrong, you let me know, but that's my feeling on the matter. Number 4, the roadmap is vague and useless. Now, the project's been planned. You can see that. There's a lot of detail in the white paper about the market analysis, the revenue forecast, etc., and also a risk analysis, which is good to see. But the roadmap is simply, it's just an infographic a child could have made, to be honest. Another bugbear, and I'm going to start discounting projects for this, I believe, because it's a very, very annoying thing to have, is that the bounty campaign just encourages spammers and affiliate linking. You know, spammers will just spam their affiliate links all over social media. I'm tending towards not posting affiliate links anymore for projects, and you know, I don't feel that bounty campaigns should be using them. They should be engaging content creators, and the rewards for content creators, proper content creators for this project, are simply an utter joke, and so it's another negative. Number 6, I tried to use the beta, it doesn't work. Big negative. Number 7, there's no incentivization to use the platform. What's going to incentivize a user to go and use this platform over and above any of the rivals? The token utility was very sort of vague. You know, I've tried to explain it. Yeah, the token's used to buy and sell services on the network, but who's going to use the network? There has to be an incentivization for people to actually use this. You have to reward them for even just using it, and that doesn't seem to be thought through here. So again, it's a big negative for this project, because to attract users, you can't just expect your platform to sell itself on the basis that it's you know, you claim that it's better than the rivals, because the rivals are offering an incentive to use theirs. Where's your incentive? Number 8, in my opinion, it doesn't offer anything new or unique in the space. Again, AdHive and some of the other advertising platforms that I did not mention in this review have similar advantages, competitive advantages, and are better put together, in my opinion. And as I said, competition is stiff in this space, and there'll be more coming as well. So yeah, it's going to be difficult to make any real impact. So let's look at the potential gains now. Because of the token metrics, I think they're still pretty, you know, favourable towards the project. So in an ultra bearish market, well, you know, it might go down because it's not really ICO season at the moment. If we continue with a bearish market, which I think is possible for the next couple of months, you might even see this go down after ICO. There really is no traction for many projects. Bearish market. Again, you might see it double, it might get a pump. It's such a low token price with a fairly low circulating supply that you know, that might help it to grow a little bit. In a bullish market, the outlook is very favourable indeed. Probably a 5 times gain I can see over a space of a few months. And in a perma bull market, it's got the potential, providing the circulating supply remains fairly low, to do probably around a 15x, I would say. Again, it's all going to be dependent on implementation, customer uptake, you know, and use of the app as well. So for flipping, I can see a positive sentiment for flipping if the ICO sells out. However, if it doesn't, I don't think you're going to make any money off of it. For hodling, again, I'm skeptical of this. I don't think this is going to pay out in the longer term. Like I say, I think there are other projects that are a better investment than this. However, I hope to be proved wrong. So final verdict time, and unfortunately I'm on the fence about this one. I can't really make up my mind. I'm ambiguous about it. It's got a lot to like about it, but on the other hand, it's got a lot not to like. You know, so I can only really give it 2.5 out of 5 stars, unfortunately, and I really wanted to rate it a little bit higher, but some of the things really irritated me while I was looking through the material here. So yeah, I'm ambiguous, I'm ambivalent. It's a neutral for me. Will I be investing? Probably not. I think there's better opportunities out there. I'll wait though and look to see when it goes on exchanges, and then maybe pick some up then, you know, if the sentiment changes. Again, you know, most ICOs and most cryptocurrencies these days, especially the ERC20 tokens, are purely driven on hype. So, you know, it's that's basically, you know, what you've really got to take into account. And I'll need to wait and see whether this has the traction, the hype behind it when it does actually launch. So I'm on the fence. The only other thing to leave you with is my disclaimer. As usual, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is purely for entertainment purposes only. If you're going to invest in ICOs, please bear in mind they do pose inherent risk, and they're not a guarantee of making any money. You can lose a lot of money if you invest in the wrong ones. And please never invest more than you can afford to lose. Do your own due diligence. Do your own research, and you know, invest wisely and invest with caution as well. Never FOMO into any projects based on what you're reading on social media or any influencers. They are particularly duplicitous and deceptive. Many of them are shilling to you, right? I'm telling you this, guys. Many of these influencers are lying to you. I'm not going to mention names here. I'm not going to get into shit fights on YouTube. I'm not going to mention names, but many of them are shilling their bags to you guys, all right? That's what they're doing. They're building hype behind projects they've invested in or they've been paid to shill so that you buy them and they make profit. That's how it works, all right? It's economics. It's simple economics. So just be aware of that. Always do your own research. That way you're not basing your decisions on somebody else. You've done your own due diligence. All right, and I hope this helps. I hope this contributes, but don't listen to what I say. If you think this is a good project, fire in. You know, you might like this. You might think it's got a lot more positives than I do. Again, each to their own. You know, it's all about your own decisions, guys. We're all big boys here. You know, we make our own decisions and we live and die by them. All right, so thanks for watching. I do appreciate everybody who is tuning in, and I'm over my illness now, you'll be glad to hear. Feeling a little bit better and up and at 'em, so I'll have another review for you very shortly. I hope to get it up in the next 24 hours. Another interesting ICO that I've been looking at in the last few days as well. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe as usual, and I'll see you later on, guys.